Welcome back to Grudge Gaming. In this video I'm going to be showing you the current Feral Druid PvP rotation, talent guide, and changes pretty much that happened. Currently, Feral Druids, previously the big change is that there's no more snapshotting. If you are familiar with Feral Druids, Locks did this a lot. Snapshotting is where you maximize your buffs and then apply a bleed or a dot. And while your buffs are active, your bleed, well, not even while your buffs are active, you're applying that bleed and your buffs are in there with your current stats, and it's causing those bleeds to tick for way harder than they would be if you didn't have those buffs. So they did away with snapshotting, and what they did was they implemented it to where if I hit this bleed rake, it's bleeding for 1,000 every tick, every 3 seconds. So say I hit a dexterous procs. Well, if I take this away, that changes. It goes down. The bleed effect actually changes based on your buff. So if I hit with a rake and then keep on attacking and I get a, let me see, and I get give me a proc. Oh, I don't even have it. Okay, say I get a Dancing Steel proc. While I have that Dancing Steel proc, my bleeds will actually go ahead and change and hit for harder than if I didn't have that. So it automatically changes as you get the buff. So you don't have to worry about kind of managing your buffs with your bleeds and everything, which is nice, but in the same time it's a whole different game now, because we don't have to sit there and manage our bleeds. You do have to manage bleeds, but it's a much different rotation than what it was during 5.4.8. So with 6.0, Feral Druids are currently doing a lot of damage, and they're doing a lot of damage being very face roll. So before we jump into the rotation, along with the snapshotting, Druids wanted a lot of mastery and they wanted a lot of agility. That was pretty much it. Now all you're taking is agility and crit. You don't have to worry about anything else. That's really it. You're gonna hard gem agility for the reds. For your orange or your yellow, you're gonna take the agility and crit, which is deadly vermilion onyx. It's 5 agility, 10 crit, and the same thing goes for your blues, which is going to be your glinting imperial amethyst, which is 5 agility, 10 crit. Agility is your big one, obviously, because that increases your critical strike chance and everything. So it increases your crit chance. It makes you hit harder. Because the difference now is that Feral Druids are actually constantly hitting. We're not applying bleeds and then maintaining those bleeds. So it's it's a whole different gameplay. The buffs that you're gonna run are your normal buffs. I'm just gonna self buff on this one. But the rotation is beyond easy, guys. It's awesome. You have to start off in stealth because that's how this rotation goes. And I'm gonna do another add-ons video. Currently, the add-ons that I use are weak auras, and that's how I'm gonna kind of display how my buffs are going and how my bleeds effects are going. So I have the DPS meter over here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you my initial damage, and it's pretty much sustained once I get going. Currently, you have to do DPS on a 90 target dummy, but that implements into a current SOO raid boss. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open up with Rake, and you're gonna immediately start stacking your shreds. So it's Rake, shred, shred, shred. Get that one off. Right back into shreds. It's awesome. Then you can hit your ferocious bite. And the thing that's really crazy is that right now I'm not even showing. That's super crazy that I'm not even showing DPS. I'll tab out and show you guys here in a second. But anyway, so the main focus of this rotation is to just pump out as many ferocious bites as you can manage while you're keeping your bleeds up. See, my one bleed fell off, but it's really not that big of a deal because that's not my main priority. My main priority is hitting those shreds with bleeds and then smashing a ferocious bite. My Ferocious Bites are critting for about 20k to 30ish k, where my Shreds with full bleeds are hitting for anywhere from 5 to 10k by themselves. See, there's a 10k, almost 11, 10s, Ferocious Bite. The rotation is insanely easy to me, and it is for everybody. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Damage, no. DPS. DPS is sitting at about 12k. The initial damage is a little bit higher because it's just initial burst. Your initial burst will get up to about 18 to 22k, but it's 12 to 15k is sustained, and that's with the 567 item level. So I'm like intro to Mythic. I am 14 or 14 Mythic though, I promise. Okay, so really breaking it down. You start off in Prowl, because whenever you start off in Prowl, you will rake the target for 1,293 bleed damage and an additional 6,465 bleed damage over 15 seconds, awarding 1 combo point. If you use while in stealth, the target will be stunned for 4 seconds. Now, the thing you have to recognize about this is that if you are stealth in attack, it automatically applies your Savage Roar for a full duration of 42 seconds. So you don't even have to worry about getting your 5 combo points and then wasting all 5 of those on a Savage Roar. So by opening up in stealth, it automatically applies that. So then you worry about getting your rakes off for full, and then you're going to hit your rip. You're going to apply that rip. You don't have to worry about running Healing Touch through your rotation anymore, because all it does is your next it heals you for 20% more. That's all it does. It's not going to give you that same next 2 hits hitting harder bonus, because they changed Ursol's Vortex. So they changed that, Dream of Scenarios. They changed that to where it doesn't give you those additional 2 hard hitting hits. So the other thing that's very different is that you don't have to do this, but it's much better if you can use them separately. We don't have to stack Berserk, and we don't have to macro those 2 together, Tiger's Fury and Berserk. So what I like to do is I like to run opener of Rake, hit Shred 3 or 4 times, apply a Rip, and then I'll go directly into a Berserk, which allows 50% reduce the cost of cap form abilities by 50%. So things that for energy, Shred only costs 20 energy. So it allows me to really build up my energy, and then I'll also like to do Berserk into a Tiger's Fury after I run a couple Ferocious Bites, just to kind of top it off and let me maintain that full bar for Ferocious Bite. Ferocious Bite is your main go-to. You want to basically apply a Rake, apply a Rip, maintain Savage Roar, and then get off as many Ferocious Bites as you can. So it's kind of playing like a rogue, where you're trying to get off as many Eviscerates as you can, but you're a cat, and your bleeds hit a lot harder. So that's pretty much that's your basic, not really basic. That's your rotation. It doesn't get any easier. You can run that Healing Touch through. It's very nice on your healers to run that Healing Touch through. I also did. I've macroed Healing Touch down to where I will heal a tank. You can run Dream of Scenarios, where increase the healing and Healing Touch. Increase healing from Healing Touch and Rejuve by 20%, and your Healing Touch and Rejuve also heal you when someone is healed. So what you can do is you can run Dream of Scenarios, use that on a tank, and it'll also heal you for the same amount. You can do this for anybody. It could be very useful. I'm personally running Nature's Vigil because it is giving me it. I can do it real fast. Nature's Vigil is gonna give you an AOE heal for single targets. So I'm hitting here, but I'm healing myself. It's not huge heals, but it is heals, and it's an AOE heal at that. So damn, man. See these skulls? That's why you can't attack the skulls, because you can't hit them. So anyways, and the Healing Touch is insane. 21k is just ridiculous. But I'm running that because AOE healing right now in raids is a little bit off. So I'm currently running Nature's Vigil. Taking a look at my spec tree, my talent tree, I'm running Wild Charge, That's kind of one of those where you can decide whichever one fits for you best. I run Wild Charge just because I like to charge a target. I like to leap behind it. So if I'm switching targets a lot, what you do in a raid, Wild Charge allows me to leap behind it versus Displaced Beast, where it's like you can end up where you think you're going to, or Feline Swiftness, which just makes you run faster, which is also a good one. Ursul's Gift, because it just like is constant healing. And again, it's a lot easier to depend on. It's not something I have to keep in the back of my mind, like, oh, I have to hit my renewal, or I have to run my Cenarian Ward through my rotation. It's just Ursul's Gift just lets me just forget about everything. Typhoon was placement. We ran Typhoon for Garrosh 14 or Garrosh Heroic. We used knockbacks in that fight, so I used it. Soul of the Forest is controversial currently because it's your finishing moves grant you 4 energy points per combo point. So if I do 5 times 4, I get 20 energy back. Summoning the Trents is a big one that's kind of going to be played. We'll see how that goes. I currently am running Soul of the Forest. Force of Nature could come back, but I don't think so. Incarnation is pretty much a PvP talent, unless you need really big burst, not sustained burst, just kind of like huge burst all of a sudden. I could see maybe doing this if you needed to like burn down an ad that came out every now and then. But with a 3-minute cooldown and it only lasts 30 seconds, it's like, questionable. Ursul's Vortex is also just another situational pick for me. We needed it for the raid. Nature's Vigil, again, is up to you if you want to run Dream of Cenarius or Nature's Vigil. I don't see running Heart of the Wild because there's not really... Heart of the Wild is more of a PvP-oriented talent spec. For most Druids, it is, when activated, dramatically improves the Druid's ability to tank, cast spells, and heal for 45 seconds. So, I guess if you were like... It's kind of like a last chance, maybe, if your guild needed like a last chance, like... coverall type thing, then I guess you're the guy. But I feel like running Dream of Cenarius or Nature's Vigil is going to help your raid more because you can kind of fill that void of... You can kind of pick up where the healers may lack. And it's really not a big deal. You just pop that and keep attacking. Dream of Cenarius, you're just going to run Healing Touch in your rotation anyways. You're used to running it in your rotation, so why kind of forget about it? So, yeah. And again, that's the rotation. And it's currently pulling about 15k sustained, and you'll start off your burst with about 20. So let's run that burst again real fast, just with the open. So again, we're going Rake, Shred, Rip, hitting that, and I always apply another Rake just because. It's like the start of my rotation, and it's something that I never want that to fall off. So it ticks fast, and it's just kind of helpful that I don't have to think about that. So I think I saw like 19k or almost 19k topping off. Another thing to consider is that whenever you hit your Tiger's Fury, you do more damage. So it's not bad to hit that Tiger's Fury. Play around with a little bit because you do, let me see, increase the physical damage done by 50%, and it instantly restores 60 energy. So if you wanted to run, it wouldn't be a bad idea to run Rake, Shred, Rip, Tiger's Fury, Rake, Shred, Berserk, Shred, Ferocious Bite. Because with Tiger's Fury, you're going to be doing more damage, and that Ferocious Bite will kick a little bit harder. I never saw anything that was like super, I absolutely had to get that, and I feel like hitting on my Berserk is allowing me to push more shreds and more Ferocious Bites versus going into Tiger's Fury and trying to get bigger Ferocious Bites. So it's kind of more versus higher. It'll probably even out to be about the same. It's just easier for me to run Berserk versus Tiger's Fury first, and I like it better. Because Berserk lasts for 15 seconds, Tiger's Fury is 8 seconds. So it's like if I can get that Tiger's Fury, or if I can get that Berserk off and then run it and then hit another Tiger's Fury, I can almost pair the two up to where they'll run right into each other. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it all. That's how Pharaohs are looking, and currently they're showing a 50% downtime with WAD. I don't see how that's possible because there's no such thing as downtime. You can be applying your rakes, you could be hitting your shreds, and then into your ferocious bites. One thing that I would like to see change is that they took away our mangle, which mangle costs 35 energy and shred costs 40 energy, and that you might be like, oh, it's 5 energy, like that doesn't make a big deal, but over time it does. You get into fights lasting 6 to 10 minutes. It's like, assuming they go perfect, that's that 5 energy adds up whenever you're taken away. You can only hit 2 shreds with a full energy bar, so that's something that I would like to see change, and it might with future patches. Also, the 100 talent tree is going to be something that's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a big change for the Feral Druids. It's going to be more dependent. Oh, excuse me. So we'll see how it goes. But currently 6.0, still in Miss Pandaria 6.0, that is your rotation. And it's currently doing a whole lot of DPS. So hopefully that maintains at least the DPS part. Hopefully they don't hit us with a nerf stick. So we'll see. But anyways, hopefully this guide helped. And be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and head over to my Twitch channel and hit that follow button. It really helps me, guys. I want to make good quality videos for you guys, and this is one way to help support me do that. So I appreciate it, guys. But anyways, again, this is Grudge Gaming signing off.